Good afternoon. This is Larry with Larry's Political Point of View. Tonight, I wanted to talk to you about homelessness in the United States and how we could be doing better. The discussion that we're having is also dealing with our election in 2024, especially with our president election. I want this to topic because I believe statistics are out that 50% of the homeless or plus is veterans, males or females. We don't take care of our veterans. Our veterans are in the streets, sleeping in the streets because they're lacking health care. They've gotten onto drugs, they've got onto alcohol to medicate themselves, and they served our nation. They served our country. They gave their life for our country, and we allowed them to sleep in the streets. We need to have programs that is going to work. If they diagnose them correctly, if they have a mental illness, we can educate them. We can give them what they need. We can put them in a home. Give them training that we need. Give them a timeline, a fair timeline that they can survive on. There are drug addicts in the street that are so caught up in drugs, they're lost in this country and they're lost in this world. They don't know what to do. But if you put them through education and you put them through a trade school, you give something for them to fight for and to live for, yeah, they're going to backslide. They're going to slip. But we can put them on a path that they can move forward to. We need to have programs in place, tiny homes or whatever. Put families in homes. Teach them skills that they need to learn to survive in this world. And they can do better. We can cut the homelessness almost down to zero if we do these things. We elect leaders that talk about they want to do this and that in our federal government, but then they don't do a thing. States need to take care of the homeless. They need to have programs in place, and federal and state needs to find funding for it. I think that our rent situation in our nation is out of control. It's getting higher and higher. Families are barely making day to day, and we're asking them to stretch the dollar even further. It's so not fair to them. They're the working class. We have Democrats that are they want to raise the taxes on the rich to make it fair. But is it really fair to raise the corporate tax so high that you want to tax everything to death? Look at California. California, they tax everything. Yes, they pay for everything, but at what cost? They don't even take care of the homeless. Look at LA. Look at San Francisco. Look at Sacramento. Seattle, Washington, New York, Chicago. You're destroying your cities because you don't take care of things. You tax everything so much for programs that when you really need to do is take care of the families, the poor, and the homeless. I'm going to tell you something that I learned 2 years ago. We're going to talk about England. We're going to talk about how they run their programs, and I think the United States need to follow this. So in England, they pay for your education. You don't pay for it, they do. You pay for it through taxes. But here's the deal. England government found out that most of the people were in this program going through college, and they get a degree and then they go to work and they find out that they're not able to do what they went to school for. England also found out that some people just didn't need to go to college to get a degree. They wanted to learn a trading skill. So what England came up to do in the junior and senior year of their schools, high school, is they came up with a program. They put you a series through test during those 2 years. And then they would find if you can go to school and you're going to do what you want to do with your degree, then they helped you with it. But the ones that didn't need to go to school, but they can learn a trade, then they focused on 3 different types of trades that they can do. And they're finding very good success. Does anyone know what a cob is? A shoemaker is what it is. There's a young man that's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, and he's on YouTube. And he talks about how he learned the trade, and he loves it. He's very passionate about it. He's learned how to have an online store so that you can order some of his products to take care of your shoes. He fixes shoes all over the world. People send them to him and whatnot. It was a dying industry. It was a dying craft. But guess what? It's coming back in England because they're learning and trade and they're loving it. There's French polishers. Many of you don't know what that is either. It is basically a woodworker that works with wood and he uses stain to stain wood and different types of stains. It's a craft. It is a project that he wanted to do and learn, woodworking. We have clockmakers coming out of the woodworks. They're wanting to learn the trade. Watches and clocks. That is a dying industry. And guess what? They're working with companies in England and Germany to make these parts so they can repair clocks. There's a lot of people in the world that wants to make clocks. They want to produce clocks. They want to fix clocks and watches. Watches are coming back because the wealthy loves it. They love the new styles. They love the new trade. There are different types of trades that people are doing these days in England, and they're finding very good success. So much that other countries in Europe are starting to follow them and learn from them. And that's what we need to be doing. Plumbers, electricians. It's a dying art here in the United States. There's a shortage of it. But guess what? England has fixed the issue. They'll walk you through it. They will pay for your training. They'll make sure that you're going to be good at your trade that you're going to do. And they guide you. And when it made the shoemaker very, very well known because he set up an online store. He was advertising himself everywhere that he could. And he's becoming a very good success story. There's other trades out there that are doing the same thing. We have repair antiques that are showing up. Here where I live, we had a guy that repaired furniture and antiques. He ended up retiring and his son didn't want to do it anymore. So he closed the business. Now we only have one person in our area that does it, and we don't know how longer he's going to do it. He has himself and 2 other workers that works with him to get the job done. We can take care of our homeless by educating, taking care of them mentally illness, finding programs that will work. Social workers come in and take care of them, counselors, doctors, nurses, and then guide them, learn them a trade. Give them a chance. Give them a job. And through counseling and social working and networking, they can be out of those streets and their own home and taken care of and being a positive to society. I'm a firm believer in religion. I love our God, but that doesn't mean that's the only religion in the United States. The United States is a freedom of religion, and not just one. We need to think of that when we see other people celebrating their life and their faith. We give people hope, we give people understanding, and give them a life to live for, to fight for something. They will survive, they will thrive in the United States. And there's no perceptions on that. Our federal government needs to take care of things. Our states need to do the same. I understand the progressive point of view of new programs, new changes, take care of this and take care of that. And I don't have a problem with that, as long as we don't add socialism to it. When you get so much socialism involved, you're choking other people out. It needs to be a balance. Come to the table with an open mind and open heart. People are going to bend, but that's how the United States has always worked. And that's when we were best as Americans, when we pulled together and come up with solutions that works for everyone. Don't force yourself onto someone. It's not good trade. It's not good for business. It's not good for our faith of whatever that is. People will come to you when they're ready to talk. I want my YouTube channel to be successful by having podcasts, having a roundtable discussions. Those are my thoughts. Those are what I want to do. I'm doing passions that I want to do for myself and the changes that are good for me. And I want the same for the United States. Whatever you want to do, have passion about it. Follow your dreams. Don't let someone stop you. Unfortunately, I've had that happen to me. But I decided to do my passion, what I want to do. I don't care how old I am. I don't care what other people say. It's what I want to do. I love going to school. I love to learn. Yes, I have dyslexia. Yes, I have speech impairment. But I'm still be able to learn and grow. We just all learn differently. And that goes along with what we're saying about the homeless. They just have different ways of learning, and we need to find out what that is and then help them to get there. We have the greatest nation in the world, and we need to have a bright light on the hill to let everyone show that they can do it in their country as well. We're going to be talking a lot about different countries because that's part of politics. That's how we all can learn from what other people are doing. We talked about England today because England is making a difference, and there's other countries in Europe that are wanting to do the same thing. There's nothing wrong with learning a trade versus going to school. We put so emphasis on college, and look at where college is at right now. And I'm in college at my age. It has gotten out of control in how expensive it is. The professors and teachers and needs to be paid, yes. But I think teachers need to be having a better salary than what they're getting. They need to not only be paid fairly, but they need to have a salary for their students to help them to whatever that is, buying books or whatever. And if they have a student and they know that the family's struggling and getting ready to have homeless, we can take action and stop it before anything happens. We need to have these programs in place and working functionally well. Yes, we're going to learn, but we can do it, and we can be a better country. We have immigrants to come to this country, and they want to offer stuff to make us look good and feel good. We need to hear them out. We need to hear from the people that are elderly. They have been through a lot. We can learn through a lot. We need to listen to them. We have 2 presidents that are well in their 70s, almost in their 80s. That's fine. That's great. But we need to be able to listen to them and what they say. There are some ideas that Trump has that I think he would be great. But you got to have smarts about you and not look like a fool. And talk out of your mouth and say things that are just off the wall. Racism is bad for the nation, it's bad for the country. Communism is also bad for the country. It just is. We got to have our faith. We got to believe in something to survive. You give no one anything to believe for, they're just going to be crimes. They're going to struggle and they're going to fail. They're going to give up. We give them something to look forward to and give something that they can believe in. And then they have families. Isn't that better for everyone? I'm not knocking down atheism. If that's what you believe in, fine. But you got to have understanding that this country is built upon freedom of religion, of all religion, a liberty of religion. We can't forget that. I don't care if you're Muslim, Hindu, Christian, atheism, communism. This country was built on freedom of religion. You don't force it on someone. You can talk to them about it, but they say they don't want to hear it, then drop it. Move on. We have the freedom of speech. And I think our freedom of speech right now is being attacked. And restriction on everything because you think that's what you believe in and you're going to force it on everybody else. That's not what Christ would want. Christ wants us to be loving and caring to all people and of all different faiths. I believe that very strongly. And when you take your minds off of that and you come out with different things of your views and preach to the world on those views and whatnot, and you get so firm and you get out of control, all you're causing is dividedness and you're pushing people away. You want people to come close to your religion? Then do the right thing and act like Christ. What would Christ do right now if he heard you're spewing? He would be shamed and pushing away. We need to listen to his teachings, but we need to be fair and honest. And we need to listen to other people and their different views and whatnot. You'll be surprised when you actually sit down with the families of different religion, how much in common we have in common. Even the ones that don't believe in Christ, but they enjoy nature and they enjoy everything in it. Talk about things that you're in common. Get to know them. Let them get to know you. And who knows, you might be able to change people's minds. But forcing yourself on it and demanding this and that. And yes, I'm talking to the MAGA of the Republican Party right now. I understand that you feel like everybody's pushing on you and your views and what you believe in what. But you're forgetting about something. You're forgetting who America is and what America stands for. You talk about wanting to put America first. Well, that's great. But you push way beyond that. You bring in all this other junk that is not freedom of religion. You talk about freedom of liberty. That is taking it away when you start restricting different people. And yes, I'm also talking about the Democrats, because the Democrats love to restrict you, to put you in a group. They push you away with all their high taxes and stuff. You're pushing businesses who are providing jobs and whatnot in your state. New York, California. You listening? You need to be better at understanding everyone and just not one focus of a group. Not shaming a Republican because he believes a certain way. Not shaming a Democrat because they believe a different way and whatnot. There are common grounds more than their different opinions of different things. And you'll be surprised when you sit down at a table and you listen to them. You'll be surprised as heck how much you do have in common. You might take it at a different angle, but you can talk about it and learn from each other. We need to take care of our homeless. And at my end of my discussion on this tonight is that we need to grow and love everyone. We need to take care of their mental illness. We need to take care of our vets. We need to take care of the poor. Those need to be coming first. We've got kids that are going hungry, and we could be doing better. Yes, we can have all these programs and we can have all these food banks and whatnot, but we can also simplify it so where families are not overdoing it, going from one food bank to the other. Construct it together to where it flows gradually. Get you into home. Don't abuse the system. Have restrictions, have laws, have rules in place, have guidance, but you also can have passion for them. I'm going to be honest with you. I used to walk down the street and I see a homeless and I feel ashamed. But once I understood as I got older as an adult what each person went through and have family members of mine went through it and saw how wrong I was. And we got to recognize when we're wrong, we're wrong. We need to admit to it and learn from it. Democrats and Republicans together. We need to be going back to what we used to be. We had arguments, we have our disagreements, but at the end of the day, we came together as a party and we came together in agreement and stuff. We don't yell on top of the mountain, look at me, because Mega, that's what you're doing, and is it working? No, you're pushing people away. Have a simple discussions. You don't have to yell on top of your lungs. You don't have to protest so loudly. I want it. Taylor Greene wants Johnson out of the chair in the Congress because she didn't like him working with the Democrats to pass a budget. Well, I believe she's in the wrong. In fact, I know she's in the wrong. We have to work together. We're all Republicans and Democrats and independents, and we're all going to get together. You push on one side of the party and you're ignoring the Democrat and the independents. Do you think you're going to win elections over that? No, you're not. You're going to push people away and they're going to say, yes, you're a Republican. I get it. But you can't win an election without Democrats or independent coming to your side. You can't. That's the same way with the Democrats. You can't push people away. When they wanted Hillary in there, she felt that she was entitled. And people didn't like it. You have to earn it. And that's why President Trump got in, because they didn't want her in office because she felt that she was entitled to it. We're not a communist country. Mega, you're going that way right now with your spew and whatnot. You want Trump to be in there for life. No thank you, no way. A lot of people ask me, do I think he's a racist? I had to think about that for the longest time when he ran in 2016. But the end of 2016, or end of 2017, I came to realize after a year and a half, almost 2 years, this man is racist. You got to listen to him. Listen to him for word. Yes, he can cause an audience to be all happy and cheery and all that. But if you really sit there and you listen to him, he's a racist. And it has no place in this country. Has no place in this world. Nationalism is not needed in this country. It's not welcomed. You're tipping your hat to racism and any of groups that belongs to that. You need to back away from it, and you need to back away from good. Conservatives knows exactly what I'm talking about. The ones that are called rhinos, as President Trump calls them. There's a reason why people are running from him. They're leaving office. They're quitting. Because they want nothing to do with the Republican Party the way it's going. And you're not going to win elections. The Republican Party is going to become known as the losers. And I know the Republican Party because I was in it for the longest time. My first person I voted for was Reagan. I'm not proud of it. We took care of things back then, and we made sure everyone was taken care of. We don't do that anymore. People, I'm going to close this, but I'm just telling you, we need to take care of the poor. We need to take care of our military, and we need to take care of our children, and we need to take care of our mentally ill. That's what I believe, America first. We got drugs coming across the border like I talked about in my last 3 videos. But we can be doing and taking care of the problems. It's going to be tough on some things. Some things are very easy to do. But we have to do it together as a nation and not pull against each other. It's sickening. And people don't like it. This is Larry with Political Point of View. Thank you for listening to me. If you like what I am discussing, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Tell your friends, tell your family that they can come and listen to this. We're not always going to agree on things, but to get this out so that we can have discussion during this election like we need to be and focus on it, because it's so important to do that. There are a lot of podcasts out there, and there's a lot of True Media, things like that. Texas Paul. I listen to them. I not always agree what they're saying, but I listen to them. I listen to Fox. I listen to Max. I listen to them because I want to see what they're saying. I want to know what they're about. I'm not always going to agree with them, but I understand where they're coming from by learning it, not putting them down. Kind, firm ground, so that you can grow on it. Have a good night.